Hi everyone, it's Lynn. Today I'm going to make a really cute angel ornament. And I'm going to start the project using jumbo craft sticks. And I cut the curved part off and then I cut them down to about 4 inches in length. You have to be careful because see, when I cut the tip off that one, I did split it. So I switched it over and I used the other end. And once I had all 3 of those cut out, I painted them. And I used Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster. And I did give these just one coat. And I put those aside to dry, and I took this wood heart shape that I had, and I traced it out onto a piece of cardboard, and then I cut it out. Now, you could just use a wood heart if you have one. You don't have to trace it onto cardboard. It's just that that one was really thick and I needed a little bit thinner and I didn't have one of those. So once I had that cut out, I placed that heart onto one of the wall tiles, the removable wall tiles from Dollar Tree, and I traced that onto there and then I cut that out. And these tiles are self-adhesive, so I just peeled the backing off of it and I just placed it right over the cardboard heart. And my tracing was a little bit wider than the cardboard, so I did go in and trim off any of that excess. The next thing I did was sand it. I wanted to tone down all of that gold and give it more of a weathered kind of distressed look. And then I added hot glue all the way around the edge and I trimmed it off with some twine. And that'll give it a little bit more of a rustic look and it'll finish off all of those edges. And now that the craft sticks are dry, I wanted to also give those a distressed look. So I used the little gator sander and I went over each one of those to let some of that natural color wood show through. When I was done sanding them, I glued them together. So I just put a little bit of glue in the top corner of one of the pieces of wood and I glued the other corner to it because you do want the bottom to be wider than the top. So then I just glued the third piece right down the center. Next, I added some hot glue to the top of the heart and I just glued those sticks right down the middle. Then I flipped it over and I used one of the pieces of scrap from this craft sticks and I glued it to the back, coming up just a little bit higher than the top of the heart. And then I took a half bead and I glued it flat to that piece of wood. And then I flipped it over again and I did glue a piece of twine to the back for a hanger. I did make her some hair by just wrapping some twine around my fingers. I probably wrapped it about 30 times. And then I just gathered it up in the center and tied it off with another piece of that twine. And I cut the loops off and then I glued it right to the top of her head. And I did trim her hair up just a little bit. And then I took this piece of a broken beaded necklace and I cut a few of the beads off of it and then I just glued the two ends together to create a halo. And I just glued that right to the top of her head. I also glued a very simple twine bow to her neck. And look at how sweet she turned out. I really love her and I hope you like her too and I hope you give this one a try. Thanks for watching everyone. Have a great day and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.